We're looking at the game map for Barren Victory, which depicts the Battle of Chickamauga. This is an installment in the Civil War Brigade series of games published by the Gamers and Multiman Publishing. And my goal is for this video to be the start of a series of videos to illustrate some gameplay in the Civil War Brigade series using the game Barren Victory as an example. I hope one element of interest in choosing this particular game is just there's not a lot of videos on YouTube depicting the play of any game depicting the Battle of Chickamauga. So I'm hoping that will be a point of interest for people as well. What we're looking at here is the southern half of the game map. What we see, and here's the northern half here, just to orientate ourselves. North is the top of the map, and the city of Chattanooga is, I think we're approximately 10 miles or so south of the city of Chattanooga, and the city of Chattanooga is the ultimate prize in this campaign. The two armies of the campaign are the Union Army of the Cumberland, led by William Rosecrans, and the Army of the Tennessee, led by Braxton Bragg. The Army of the Tennessee are the grayish and kind of olive colored units in the army on the right side of the hypothetical line I'm tracing with my cursor, and the terminating here, and then the Union Army are all the units to the west of the line I'm tracing with the cursor, all the units colored roughly blue or purple. This is, in particular, this is the initial setup for Scenario 2 of Barren Victory, which depicts the fighting that started at approximately 2 p.m. on September the 19th. The Battle of Chickamauga took place on September 19th and September 20th, so this is the first day of battle, so roughly the second half of the first day of the battle. Up to this point at Chickamauga, the fighting has largely concerned with the units on the northern half of the map. That is, so I'm going to trace another invisible line with my cursor, and it's roughly the units to the north of this line are the units that have been actually fighting up to this point. So units south of this invisible hypothetical line are really up to this point have not really been involved in the fighting. In order to limit the scope of my video, to help limit the length of the videos, I'm going to limit my attention to the units south of the hypothetical line I'm tracing. That is, I'm going to focus my attention to the units that have up to this point not really participated in the battle. A further restriction I'm going to make is that there are some Confederate units down at the bottom of the map and to the right of the map. This is Hindemann's division of Polk's Corps. That's just made its way onto the map. Then over here on the right is D.H. Hill's Corps of the Army of the Cumberland. Historically, these units did not play much of a role on September 19th. They did not really get involved in the fighting until September 20th. And so again, for simplicity's sake, I'm not going to play with those units. They're just going to sit here and not be involved in gameplay. So to zoom in a bit, where I'm going to focus my attention for this and the subsequent videos, again, are the units south of the invisible line I'm tracing with the cursor right here. So everything south of here. That does include Negley's division of the Army of the Cumberland, which has just made its way onto the map from the south. It will be traveling north. And yeah. So that's the sort of the basic setup that we're going to start with. Now let's take a look at let's orientate ourselves further by looking at the command structures of the two armies, or the portion of the armies that we're going to look at. Starting with the Union, the nexus, as it were, the Army of the Cumberland is located here. That's represented by what's called the Army Headquarters counter. That's the counter with the American flag on it. And also in the same hex is a hex depicting William Rosecrans, the commanding general of the Army of the Cumberland, as well as a third counter depicting the supply train for the Army of the Cumberland. And then the units of the Army of the Cumberland that we're going to focus on are, for the most part, strewn along the Lafayette Road here, going down to the south edge of the map. And there's going to be several divisions from several corps that we, as the Union player representing Rosecrans, will be able to command and fight with. The first command is Van Cleve's division, the 3rd Division of the 21st Corps, and Van Cleve has 3 brigades within his command. The one led by Dick here, the one led by Beatty, and the one led by Barnes. So each of these 3 sky blue counters represents a brigade. And I'll explain what the AB marker means in a later video. The second command that Rosecrans will have at their command is 1 brigade of Reynolds' division. That's the brigade led by King, along with 5 units of artillery, and Reynolds, the brigade commander, is also located with this brigade of the 1st Division of the 14th Corps. And then going a bit farther south, we have Davis's division, the 1st Division of the 20th Corps, and that division is comprised of 2 brigades, Hegg's Brigade and Carlin's Brigade, as well as 5 units of artillery. This unit here has kind of a special status. It's commanded directly by Rosecrans. I'll explain what that means in a later video. It's a very large brigade of cavalry armed with Spencer repeating rifles and a couple units of artillery. And then looking farther south down the map, we have, well, the headquarters of the 21st Corps, accompanied by the commander of the 21st Corps, Crittenden. And then we have 1 division of the 21st Corps down here in the southern end of the map, the 1st Division commanded by Wood, and we have 2 brigades and 5 units of artillery within that division. And then we have the headquarters of the 20th Corps down here, led by McCook. And then we have 1 division of that corps down here, led by Sheridan. There's the 3rd Division, and the 3rd Division has 3 brigades within its command. This unit here, this unit here, and this unit here. And then finally, as I mentioned, we have Negley's division of the 14th Corps down here, just making its way onto the map. And so those are the units that Rosecrans will have at their disposal as we play out this scenario. Switching our attention to the Army of Tennessee, the headquarters of the Army of the Tennessee is located here. It's led by Braxton Bragg, and there's a counter representing him, as well as the supply train of the Army of the Tennessee. And then in the portion of the scenario we're going to focus on, Bragg will have at his disposal 2 corps, each with 2 divisions. He'll have the 1st Corps, whose headquarters is located here. That's led by Hood, accompanied by 15 total units of artillery, as well as 2 divisions. The first led by Johnson. There are 3 brigades in Johnson's division, the one here, the one here, and the one here. And then the other division within First Corps is led by Law, and there are two brigades in Law's division, the one here and the one here. So First Corps has 5 total brigades within its command. The other corps that Bragg will be able to control in the portion of the scenario we'll look at is Buckner's Corps, whose headquarters are located here, and Buckner himself is located in this hex as well. And then the two divisions of Buckner's Corps are actually pretty far away from the Corps headquarters. One division of Buckner's Corps is led by Stewart here. There are 3 brigades in Stewart's division of Buckner's Corps, and then the other division of Buckner's Corps is led by Preston, and there are 3 brigades in Preston's division of Buckner's Corps as well. So it will be this collection of units here that Bragg will control as we play out this 2 p.m. scenario of September 19th. I think the final thing I'll do in this, one of the final things I'll do in this video, and this will be to sort of start our discussion of the actual structures and rules of the game, as opposed to just the historical setup, will be to talk about command radius, which is an important feature of the game. The essential idea of command radius is that, say, let's focus on the First Corps as an example. If the First Corps has a set of orders to execute a certain action, the divisions and brigades of that corps are allowed to act on those orders only if they meet the command radius requirements that have to obtain between the corps headquarters and the divisional leaders, and then between the divisional leaders and the brigades within the command of that divisional leader. There are no command radius requirements between an army, as say the Army of Tennessee, and the Army headquarters and the Corps headquarters. They can be any distance. They can be any distance away from each other whatsoever on the map. The radius restrictions apply only to the units within a given corps. Command radius is measured by leader movement points. The Vassal module here includes a movement chart that gives the different movement allowances for all the different kinds of units in the game. For measuring command radius, we focus on leaders here. And just in a nutshell, in a clear hex, it takes one movement point to move into a clear hex, like this one here. If a leader is moving along a road, that would either be a black line on the Barren Victory map or a red line on the Barren Victory map. It would cost half a movement point. For a forest hex such as these, it would take a leader 2 movement points to move into a forest hex, and creeks have creeks upslopes and stream. The blue lines on the map represent streams, and in Barren Victory, streams have no effect on leader movement. So when we're tracing out command radius, we'll do it according to leader movement points as they're represented in the movement chart. So a quick inspection will see that all the brigades in the First Corps meet the command radius requirements, because Law, the divisional leader, is 4 leader movement points away from the First Corps headquarters, and the requirement is 8 or less. Johnson is 246 away from the Corps headquarters, so Johnson meets the requirement as well. And then all of Johnson's brigades are either 0 movement points or 2 leader movement points away from Johnson. The maximum allowed is 4 there, and similarly goes for Law's brigade. Law's division. Both brigades within Law's division meet each brigade is either 0 or 2 movement points away from Law's counter. As I mentioned before, Buckner's corps is more spread out, and they're basically right at the allowable limits of command. So, for instance, Stuart is 2, 4, 6, 8 movement points away from Buckner's Corps headquarters, so that's the upper limit. And then there's a road that we can trace through the woods from Buckner's headquarters to Preston. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7.5 movement points. So Preston is 7.5 movement points from Buckner's headquarters. So again, just almost at the upper limit. Now, the only exception to these exception to the command radius requirements in the game are that if a particular division has what's called divisional orders, and any commander in the chain of command of a division can issue divisional orders to a given division. We'll talk more about that process in a later video. But long story short, Buckner or Bragg can issue what's called a divisional order to Stuart that would essentially give Stuart autonomy to violate the command radius requirement with his corps headquarters. So, and actually we're going to see in a later video that the scenario starts with Stuart's division here, these 3 brigades, they are accepting and implementing a divisional order to, just simplifying a bit, just to attack somewhere in this area. So what we'll see, what Stuart will be allowed to do is to move his 3 brigades in this division, even though it will violate what is normally the allowable command radius between a corps headquarters and a divisional leader. Now, switching our attention to the Army of the Cumberland, they have several different Rosecrans. The Army headquarters of the Army of the Cumberland are located here, along with Rosecrans himself. And Rosecrans is going to have, if I've counted them right, 6 different commands under his control in the scenario that we'll look at. The first is Van Cleve's division here, comprised of these 3 brigades. We have Reynolds, the leader, and just one brigade of his division, along with 5 units of artillery. There's 5 units of artillery here too. We have Davis's division here, comprised of 2 brigades and 5 units of artillery. We have Wilder's brigade here, is a special mounted brigade armed with repeating rifles. We have Woods. We have the 21st Corps here with 1 division and 2 brigades of Woods division here. We have the 20th Corps here with 1 division of the 20th Corps, Sheridan, and his 3 brigades. And then we have Negley's division down here. As far as command radius goes for the Army of the Cumberland at the start of the game, the idea of divisional goals are really important here, because all of the different commands that of the Army of the Cumberland that will be active during the scenario will start the scenario with divisional orders to defend in place. So their orders are simply to stay where they are and to defend. What that's amounting to, and this was historically accurate, is essentially all these units, at least here, along here, are being given orders to defend the Lafayette Road, which is indeed what the Union was trying to, historically, what they did at this point in the battle. These units are also start the scenario under, I mean, there won't be divisional orders here. There'll be each corps, all these units will be under the order to defend in place. The only exception is Negley. Negley starts the scenario with orders to march to the Army of the Cumberland headquarters and then receive further orders at that time. So Negley will start the game marching north. All the other units of the Army of the Cumberland will start the scenario by defending in place. Of course, what Rosecrans would like is for all of these units down here, since there's really no action down here. Again, remember, these units are not going to play a role in the scenario. So what Rosecrans is going to want to do is to issue orders to all of these units here, essentially to move north up the Lafayette Road and help to defend the road. And we'll see that play out in the subsequent videos. So I think I'll end the video there, and then with the next video I'll start with the sequence of play for the Civil War Brigade Series and start to demonstrate how the game is actually played, focusing again on the units that I've specified here. Thank you for watching.